Hello, I'm Holly and welcome to another reading vlog. I feel like I've done quite a lot of reading vlogs at the moment, but this month in November it is Believathon, which is a middle grade readathon hosted by Gavin at How to Train Your Gavin, and I thought that it might be fun to vlog it. So it is actually the 3rd of November and I have started a couple of books. So the first one that I started is the Jumbies by Tracey Baptiste. I talked about this a little bit in my Halloween reading vlog, so if you haven't seen that, you can go and check that out. But I didn't get very far. I've listened to about half an hour of that so far because I'm listening to it as an audiobook. But I believe that it follows this girl who gets suspicious of people who are moving into her neighbourhood, and she thinks that they could be these evil spirits or something called the Jumbies. I don't know too much about that. I think that it is pretty full of Caribbean folklore and stuff, so I'm very excited to listen to more of that. And then last night I started Potkin and Stubbs by Sophie Green. This should really be the first book that I finished during Believathon because this is for the key prompt, which is a mystery or a book featuring mystery elements, and that enables you to get into the house. There's this whole map, but Potkin and Stubbs is a mystery, as I said, and it follows this girl called Lil Potkin, who is a wannabe reporter. She really wants to find her next scoop, and one day she's at this bus station, she meets this boy called Stubbs, and so far I am on page 102, so I read 100 pages yesterday, and I love our main character, Lil Potkin. She's great, and I think that I'm really going to enjoy following her throughout this book. And yeah, there isn't that much to say. I really like some of the writing in this. Let me just read you, look at that beautiful map. But let me just read you the first line. I really liked it. Pelican City was worn out and rain-soaked, and the dark clouds that hung over it cast long and murky shadows. Brilliant. I love that. And there are some illustrations in this. Let's see if I can find one. So I don't know how well you're going to be able to see, but that is one of the illustrations. It's really cute and it's really spooky. I think this is going to be a great first book to read. Hopefully I can either finish it today or tomorrow. I don't think it's going to take me too long, and I'm excited to continue with this one. Okay then, so it is now the 7th of November and I've read less than I expected. I had a really busy week with university, so I just didn't read as much as I hoped. But I did end up finishing Potkin and Stubbs by Sophie Green. This was my first book. This was the key prompt, and I'm sure it fulfilled a couple of other prompts, but I can't remember them right now. And I actually ended up loving this book. I didn't give it 5 stars, I gave it 4 stars, but it was so much fun and I loved the atmosphere in it. This dark, gritty city where everyone's corrupt. I really did love the atmosphere. It's a bit ghostly, a bit spooky, definitely perfect for Halloween or the spooky season. I loved our main character, Lil. She was very determined and focused on her goals, and she wants to find out certain things and she is determined to find those things out. I also really loved Nedley, who is very sweet, and I'm very intrigued to follow these two characters in the next books. I definitely want to continue with this series. It had all the atmospheric vibes that I wanted, and a great book to start off Believathon. So far, so good. Now, the next book that I'm hoping to get to, I'm sure I can read this in the next 20 minutes or so, but that is The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. Everyone seems to talk about this. This is a graphic novel. Don't know too much about the plot. I don't even know if it has a plot. All I know is that it features these tiny little dragons who grow tea leaves, and people make tea from their leaves, and it sounds like it's going to be so cute, so fun. I know that so many people have read this and they just loved it, and the art style is very cute. I don't know how much you can see, but it looks so cute. And then I'm also still reading The Jumbies by Tracey Baptiste. I'm listening to that one on audio and I'm slowly working my way through it, but again, I'm really enjoying that one. It has these spooky vibes and I'm very intrigued to see how it's going to continue because certain things have happened. I'm actually really enjoying that one too. So far Believathon is going pretty well. It's going at a slower pace than I'd anticipated, but yeah, I'm going to go and read The Tea Dragon Society and hopefully I love it. I'm sure that I will. If it's anything like Heartstopper, that kind of heartwarming, wholesome content, that is what I want, and I'm hoping that this one delivers. just finished The Tea Dragon Society. It was so cute. 5 stars, absolutely brilliant. The art style in this is so beautiful. For example, that's like the art style. It's very cute and colourful and beautiful. And the dragons, the tea dragons, there's a little bit at the back which talks you through all the different types of tea dragon. And some of the things are so cute. Like they're basically, they have no survival skills, so people have to look after them. And one of them, the peppermint tea dragon, it says, hates to be left alone and will begin crying immediately if it thinks it has been abandoned. Oh, it was so cute. I will definitely like reread this over and over, and I definitely want to get the next one, which I think is the Tea Dragon Festival. I would definitely recommend giving this one a go. It only took me maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, but that's because I like to take a lot of time looking at all the individual pictures. Oh, so cute, so cute. Okay. Was Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Grace Lynn. This is one of Gavin's favourites of the year, and so far I am on page 160, so I would say that I'm a little over halfway through, and it's really, really sweet. This is very much about stories and folk tales and things like that. So you're following our main character, Minli, whose family are incredibly poor, so she ends up going on this adventure to find her fortune and end up supporting her family and stuff like that. And obviously on the journey lots of things happen. She ends up meeting this dragon. The bit where I've got to in the book, she went to this city to find a king. You're also flicking back to her parents' perspective, because obviously they're incredibly worried about Minli. She's just up and left, and she is only a child, so you also have their dilemma about whether they try and go after her, but they don't really know where she's gone. And so far, so good. I am really, really enjoying this one, and I don't know if I'll be able to show you, but you have the main narrative, which is in normal text, normal font, and then every now and again Minli or someone else will tell a story. Let's see if I can find one. So that's a beautiful illustration. It's also beautifully illustrated, but that is like normal writing, and then every now and again it will do these stories which almost look like people have written on a page. And this is Asian inspired. I think it's Chinese inspired or set in China. And I don't really know many Chinese folk tales or stories or anything, so this is completely new for me, and I think that it would be a great book to read to your kids or let your kids read if you want them to explore different cultures and stuff like that. It is taking me a little bit longer than I anticipated, but that has nothing to do with the book. It's just me not spending time reading, which is really bad considering my November TBR is so big. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to finish this one. Hopefully I can finish it in the next couple of days. And I'm also listening to the Jumbies. I keep listening to the Jumbies. I think I've only got maybe an hour and a half of that left, so I'm almost at the end, and I'm really enjoying that one too. Lots of things have started happening, and there's a lot of danger in that one, and I haven't read too many middle grades, so I don't know if they're all this dangerous. Like, there is real threat in the Jumbies that our main character is facing, and I'm really enjoying that one too. So far, Believathon is going incredibly for me, and I ought to go and read some more of this book. Hello, so long time no see. Well, long time no see for me. I haven't really updated this vlog for a while, and this is actually going to be my final update of the vlog. So I didn't do as well in Believathon as I anticipated. I have finished a couple more books. So I ended up finishing the Jumbies by Tracey Baptiste. That was like a Caribbean inspired or set in the Caribbean, folklore kind of thing. And I did actually end up really enjoying that. I think I've given it maybe 3.5. It did keep me hooked. I don't know how to explain. I think because I was listening to it as an audiobook, it could just be that I wasn't loving the audio format at that time, but I never found myself wanting to pick it up. I had to force myself to pick it up, and I don't know if that's the book, I don't know if it's an audiobook thing, because sometimes I love audiobooks, sometimes I go through months where I hardly listen to anything, but I did enjoy it. I liked our main character, or our group of friends, I really liked them. I loved the Jumbies, the creatures in this that are kind of monstrous. I really liked them, and I loved the bringing in of Caribbean folklore because that's something that I don't really know too much about. And overall, I did think it was a really fun, kind of spooky read. I definitely recommend it. There are some really, I don't know, scary things that I think if I read it when I was 12 or whatever the target age is, I would have actually had nightmares about. So do be aware if you do know someone younger that maybe you should read it first, see if you think that they could handle it. There are some images and stuff that really not grossed me out, but were just a bit spooky. And then I also finished Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Grace Lynn. I think I ended up rating this one 4 stars. Again, I really enjoyed this one, and the greatest thing in this book is how it deals with stories. This is really a love letter to storytelling. I think this would be a perfect book to read to your children. It just has that fairy tale, folklore kind of style, this old style, this classic style, which I think would really work well being spoken out loud. The story in this was also very fantastical and whimsical. You have a dragon who doesn't know how to fly. There are talking goldfish. What else can I say? I just really enjoyed this one. It wasn't 5 stars, but the ending did make me tear up, and I think it was about a 3.5 star for most of it, but then the ending, it bumped it up to a 4 star, and I ended up really enjoying this one, and this is another one that I would highly recommend. So in total, I read these 3 and then the Jumbies, so I read 4 books during Believathon, and I think my Believathon did go well. I am happy with the books that I've read. So the first book that I finished was Potkin and Stubbs by Sophie Green. I really love this one. I gave this 4 stars. No, it's not my favourite. I know which one's my favourite, because the second book that I read was The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. I gave this one 5 stars. Then I finished The Jumbies by Tracey Baptiste, which I gave 3.5 stars. And then the final book that I finished was Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Grace Lynn. So I would call that a success. Oh, and Grace Lynn, I gave that 4 stars. So 3.5 to 4 stars to 5 stars. I think I did pretty well, and I had a lot of fun. I definitely want to take part in the future. There's so many other middle grades that Gavin always talks about that I really want to try. And I think the saddest thing though is that I didn't end up getting round to Hollowpox, The Hunt for Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This is the 3rd book in the Nevermore series. I was incredibly excited to get to this, but it just didn't happen. Certain books that I chose to read before, and then I had to read other ones, and it just didn't happen. But I definitely recommend checking out my TBR for December, because this might feature. I definitely want to get to this one very soon. But yes, just before we leave, let's have a look at the prompts. Because I kind of changed my TBR and I didn't read all 6 books that I'd intended, I'm not sure if I've covered all the prompts, but I'm assuming that I have. So anyway, let's see. So prompt number 1 was The Key, which was a mystery book, and for that I have Potkin and Stubbs, so I've done that one. And then prompt number 2 was Fingerprints, which was an author from a different culture than you, and that could be The Jumbies by Tracey Baptiste. I think Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Grace Lynn could also cover that. Number 3 was Scream, an audiobook, and for that I had The Jumbies. 4 is Torn Page, Supernatural Element. That could be Potkin and Stubbs, it could be Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, or The Jumbies, so I've definitely covered that one. Crown is set in an alternate world. Maybe the Tea Dragon Society. We don't have tea dragons in our world, so I think that one could count. Number 6 is Spilled Ink, which is featuring ghosts. That is Potkin and Stubbs. Number 7 is Dagger, a dangerous setting. Again, I think Potkin and Stubbs could cover that. Maybe Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. The Jumbies, a lot of them had quite a danger element in them. Number 8 is Backpack, which is a new to you author, and I think all the ones that I read, all of them were new to me. Number 9 is featuring a prominent villain, which is the Footprints, and I definitely think the Jumbies would fit for that one. There is quite a good villain in that one. Number 10 is Hand Mirror, beautiful cover, and again, literally any of these. I mean, look at T-Dragon Society, stunning. Number 11 is Chain, colourful cast of characters. And I think Where the Mountain Meets the Moon really covers that one. You do have quite an array of characters in this one. Also, the T-Dragon Society would work for that one. Number 12 is Flash of Lightning, featuring folk tales or a retelling element. You've got Where the Mountain Meets the Moon and the Jumbies. And then the final prompt, which is Shadow, is published in 2020. Now, I don't think any of these are, so that's the only one that I haven't covered. I haven't covered Shadow. That was going to be my Hollowpox one. But I'm still happy with everything I've got. As I said, these are the ones that I read. I am happy that I got to some of the middle grades that have been on my radar for a few months or a year or so. And yes, that is Believathon. I hope that you've enjoyed this vlog. I don't think it has been as exciting as I expected it to be, but I hope that you still enjoyed it. And that's it for this vlog. As you can see, I already have my Christmas things going on in the background, so I'm hoping to do a lot of Christmas themed videos during December, so look out for them if you're interested. But that's it from me. Thank you for watching, and to everyone out there, stay curious. Bye!